In verse 29, Abraham called to the woman to come out to him from the tent. And the woman came and stood opposite to Abraham, for Abraham was still mounted on that camel. He did exactly what his wife said. Don't you get off that camel. Now watch this. And Abraham said to Ishmael's wife, when your husband Ishmael returns home, say these words to him. Now check this out. Abraham told her to tell Ishmael, your husband, when he gets home, a very old man from the land of Philistia came hither to seek you. And thus was his appearance and figure. So how he looked is what she needed to tell Ishmael. And you need to tell him, I did not ask who he was, and seeing you were not here, he spoke unto me and said, when Ishmael, your husband, returns, tell him, thus did this man say, when you come home, put away this nail of the tent which you have placed here, and place another nail in its stead. Now let me read the end of verse 31 again. It says, when Ishmael, your husband, returns, tell him, thus did this man say, when you come home, put away the nail of the tent which you have placed here, and place another nail in its stead. What was Abraham talking about? So in verse 32 it says, and Abraham finished his instructions to the woman, and he turned and went off on the camel homeward. So he said what he said and he left. But what did this parable mean? Obviously Ishmael is going to know what it means. So in verse 33 we see that Ishmael and his mother Hagar have come back from hunting, archering, whatever they're doing out there in the wilderness. And they returned to the tent, and the wife spoke these words. So in 34, you see she said exactly what Abraham told her to say. And in 35, it says, and Ishmael heard the words of this woman, and he knew that it was his father, and that his wife, his woman, did not honor him. 36, and Ishmael understood his father's words that he had spoken to his woman. Ishmael now knew that his wife did not honor his father. She was cursing him. She was cursing the kids. She was toxic, and she had to go. Verse 36 tells you, it says, and Ishmael understood his father's words that he had spoken to his wife, and Ishmael hearkened to the voice of his father. And Ishmael cast off that woman, and she went away. Now, if we go back to verse 31, the end of it, when it says, put away this nail of the tent which you have placed here, and place another nail in its stead. Abraham was saying, get rid of that wicked woman and get you one that got some sense. So after Ishmael cast out that wicked, toxic woman, he went to the land of Canaan and found him another one. Verse 37, and Ishmael afterward went to the land of Canaan, and he took another wife, and he brought her to his tent, to the place where he then dwelt. So keep in mind that he already had children, and the children that he had were by his first wife. And the woman of Ishmael conceived and bore 4 sons and 2 daughters. So we know from the Bible that Ishmael had 12 sons. Not sure how many daughters, but there was at least 2. So he probably had some by the new wife as well. But he had 12 sons in total. 4 sons and 2 daughters were by that first woman. The nail that Ishmael put away had 4 sons and 2 daughters. And she was cussing them out in the tent around Abraham. It's some more tidbits about these kids too. Now, I don't want to get too far off the topic at hand, but I wouldn't be the history buff that I am without going into some detail about the historical value of this content. So Ishmael had 12 sons, just like Jacob had 12 sons. We're only going by sons because that is where the birthright comes in. So we know the first 4 sons were by that nail that he got rid of. That first wife that Ishmael got rid of. Naboth, Kedar, Adbeel, and Mibsam were the first wife's sons. Yep, these are the sons that evil woman was beating in the tent. And the second wife that he got from the land of Canaan had 8 other sons for him. So this is proof that Ishmael did not allow that woman to take his kids. He only got rid of her. Genesis chapter 28 verse 9, it says, so Esau visited his uncle Ishmael's family and married one of Ishmael's daughters, in addition to the wives he already had. His new wife's name was Mahalath. We'll see in other scriptures that she used a different name as well. She was the sister of who? Nebaioth, and the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son. So who was Nebaioth again? Let's go over to 1 Chronicles chapter 1 verse 29. It says the sons of Ishmael were Nebaioth, the oldest, the firstborn. And it also gives 3 others, Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, just like we saw on that list. Did anybody notice or catch what is going on here? Just in case you did not, let me show you. So in verse 29, it only shows the 4 sons from the first wife. But if you go to verse 30, it lists all the other 8 sons from the second wife. Yes, it's these little intricate details that are all throughout the Bible and the related books that matter. These are keys to complete understanding of what is going on. Let's go to Genesis chapter 36, verse 3. And it says, he also married his cousin Basemath. We're talking about Esau here. So, as I stated before, chapter 28 gives a different name for this cousin. It's the same person. She just has more than one name. This is common in the Bible. You have people like Esther, who had a different name by birth, Sarai, Sarah, and she also had another name, and they had us tripped up in the Bible thinking that she was actually Abraham's sister because they used that name. And there were other people, men too, with different names. Barsabbas, Simon Peter, etc., etc., etc. Now, if you notice, it says she was the daughter of Ishmael and the sister of Nebaioth. Why does it keep saying she was the sister of Nebaioth? Well, because they had the same mother. This is proof right here. Ishmael kept his kids. And the fact that is another clue, another key. When you know that the kids have the same mother and father, it'll say stuff like this: the sister of, the brother of. It says that throughout the Bible. So she was one of the 2 daughters who was in the tent getting beat, probably as well, right in front of her granddaddy Abraham. From her mother, the nail that got sent away. Now we know that a lot of people relate Ishmael to the Arabic people. But this is proof, by him having more than one wife, that not all of his descendants are Arabic. Stay tuned for part 3, coming real soon.